Hi. I have a question. How many times in your life have you been told you're too young? Maybe you're too young to start a new project. Maybe you're too young to date a boy. Maybe you're too young to get married. Maybe you're too young to go back to college. Maybe you're too young to be stressed about something, worried about something. Live your life. It doesn't even have to be told that you're too young. Maybe, oh my gosh, you have so much time left. Maybe it's, well, why are you concerned? Like, there's many other people out there. There's other opportunities. It's all in the same boat. And my question is, when are you not too young? Is there an age limit? Is there a specific time and place and day that you just wake up and you're the right age? Or you wake up and now you're too old? Why is that the biggest concern for people when you're talking about things that you're genuinely interested or concerned or stressed or have goals towards? Is your age? That has been something plaguing my life for as long as I can remember. And I created a podcast so we can talk about it, so we can live life together and figure this out, because I don't think you're too young. I don't think anyone's too young, except when it comes to like legal drinking age and like driving, maybe those things. But when it comes to figuring out life, I don't think you're too young. My name is Grace Boulay, and welcome to Too Young, the podcast. This has been in the works for so long, and me sitting down in front of the camera, finally making it happen, has been a feat. But I'm so excited and happy to be here. And for y'all to be listening to this finally. It feels like I've been working on this for years and years and years, but really it's just been many months. And the fact that this is in the world is scary, terrifying, but also very exciting. So thank you so much for being here and listening and watching and following and subscribing and supporting me. So yeah. My name is Grace Boulay. I think I already said that, but just in case you didn't catch it in my little speech that I decided that was so important for me to do and get right, my name is Grace Boulay, and I'm so excited to do this. We're going to get into the podcast and what's going to be to come and how this became to be. But the first thing I wanted to say was thank you. And I will keep saying thank you for listening and supporting, because that's the only way I can make this happen and this work. Don't get me wrong. I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this because this is something that I truly believe in and something that I believe will help people who feel like they're struggling or just want someone to listen to, even though there's thousands of podcasts out there at this point. And don't get me wrong, I might not have anything new or incredibly like insightful to say or something you've probably heard a million times. But hey, maybe me saying it and you listening to the stories of things that I've been through and my experience and the people I bring on and their experience might help you in some ways in life too. So yeah, here we go. Here's the start. Episode 1, Too Young to Start a Podcast. Which, fun fact, you're not too young to start a podcast. There's no age limit on starting a podcast. A child could probably have a podcast if they had their parents helping. But I'm a grown adult. I'm 24 years old, and I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. And yes, it did take me probably about a year to learn how to say Nevada, right? Because I'm from Texas, and for some reason out there, we said Nevada. So let's just dive right into this. And this podcast, like, what is this? Who are you listening to? Why am I doing this? How did this become to be? Let's get into it. So about a year ago, my old roommate, her name is Sarah, decided to start her own YouTube channel. I had always wanted to start a YouTube channel ever since I was young. I grew up watching YouTubers, and that's how I learned a lot of random life skills, like doing my makeup and just kind of like learning how to live outside of your parents' house, was watching these YouTubers do it. And it was something I always really wanted to do, YouTube. And I just was always kind of scared because you're opening yourself up to a lot of people getting an inside look on your life, and you're making your life more public. You're opening up to people commenting about it and to judging you. And I was always so concerned with what other people were thinking of me that I was like, well, I don't want to open myself up to other people coming into my life because I feel like they're going to judge me or they're going to have comments that would in turn probably not make me feel good about myself for the choices I was making. So I always kind of put it back and I always kind of, pushed it to the side. I did buy a vlog camera in college and I told myself I was going to do a YouTube channel because I thought my life was super interesting. But then I ran into this really fun problem where, well, to have a YouTube channel, you have to record yourself. And I would always have these fun stories to tell, but, it would always be after the fact, or I'd always get like little clips of what was happening. And then I would have to explain the before, the after of the clips. And it just never really felt right. And I kind of was trying to force myself to do it because I wanted to. I wanted to do this YouTube channel. I wanted to put myself out there. And I wanted to be, and this is going to be cringy, but I'm being honest with y'all. I wanted to be an influencer. I thought that lifestyle was fun. You just get to live your life and show people on the internet and do these really fun, cool things. And, obviously they're all highlight reels and there's a lot of stuff going behind the scenes, but I wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to have people look up to me and follow me. And I'm very glad I didn't do it then because I was going through a lot. I was graduating college. I was being, my life was a mess. Let's just be for real. My life was a mess and I didn't really know what I was doing. And so a year later, or a year ago, that's the word I was looking for, a year ago, I was talking with my roommate about it and she was talking to me about, having no fear and trying it. And we went back and forth for months before and after that of me, putting myself out there and actually doing the things. And I remember we had this conversation sitting on our kitchen island and I looked at her and I was like, dude, I'm honestly jealous of you for what you're doing. And it was just like one of those moments where I think everything just kind of made sense to me and it kind of hit me that this was the time. This was my time to do this. If I wanted to do it, this was my time. While I'm young, while my life is super interesting and I'm doing all these things and I'm, having these new experiences, I need to do this now. And so I still was apprehensive of doing a YouTube channel because I didn't know if I could commit fully to, doing the video part. And my roommate would always tell me, she's like, you always have these crazy stories. Like you never seem to run out of stories to tell. And you always have really good advice and you're always there for people. And you're someone that people do learn a lot from and can look up to. So why don't you do a podcast? And I remember I looked at her and I was like, well, there's so many other podcasts out there. Like, why would anyone listen to mine? And she was like, you give them a reason to. You give them a reason to listen to you, whether that's to be entertaining, whether that's to give them advice, whether that's to bring people on that will give them advice. You can be that person. And I think I just kind of like realized, I was like, damn, like there are thousands of artists out there that have fans. There are thousands of YouTubers out there, YouTube channels that have fans. People don't have to just listen to one podcast. They don't have to listen to one artist, to watch one YouTube channel, watch one TV show. People can like a lot of things. But for them to like a lot of things, you have to put that out there. And so that's why I say like my YouTube channel my podcast might not be anything new, right? I'm one girl. This is just me. It's hosted by me. I'm going to bring people on, obviously. But there's going to be a lot of episodes where it's just me talking to you. And we're going to figure this out together. My editing might not be great. My video skills might not be great. I might ramble. I might be annoying sometimes. I might not know what I'm talking about, and I might contradict myself. But that's life. We figure it out together. And so that's why I'm starting this, because you can't do something without starting it. So I figured today is day one. Well, actually, a few months ago was day one, but today is day one of filming. And we're doing it. We're putting it out there. You're going to listen to it. You're going to either love or hate me. And I hope you love me. If not, I gave you 2 other episodes to listen to. So listen to one of those. And, we're going to figure it out together. I'm always open to suggestions of things you want me to talk about. If you need some life advice, I can try to give it to you. I've been through a lot, I will say. Relationship-wise, life-wise, I've been through a lot. And so we'll probably talk about a lot of it. There's stuff I definitely won't ever talk about. But either way, we'll figure this life out together. Because guess what? You're not too young to start something new. You're not too young to start over. You're not too young to have goals and to have curiosities and wonderings and to ask questions and to figure out life. Because we're all living this life. So let's live it together. So that's kind of the beginnings of how the podcast came. And so last December, I started working on everything. I sat down and the first thing is the name, right? You have to think about a name. Like, what am I going to call this? Am I going to call it the Grace Boulay Podcast? No, that's not catchy. And while I might like it on a shirt, it's not really fun for you to put on a shirt, and it's not really good branding unless you're like Alex Earl or like Alex Cooper or someone super famous doing a podcast. Like I think like Jeff Rogan, it's like Jeff Rogan's Experience. Like, yeah, of course he can put his name on the podcast. He has followers. I don't. Okay. This is the people who are probably watching this when this launches are like my friends and my family and random people who follow me, which shout out to y'all. Y'all are great. If you're just finding me and like kind of watching from day one, I'm still going to consider you a day one from whenever you follow me, whether it's, a few episodes from now, from day one, or a year from now. Everyone take 5 big sips of water. It's actually, it's from one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is Remy Cruz. Absolutely love her. She has her own podcast with Alicia Marie, who I also have been following for a very long time, but I've been following and watching Remy Cruz since like the first year she did YouTube. Love her. So I wanted to adapt that too. So that will be in every podcast, is take 5 big sips of water. Because stay hydrated, people, especially out here in the desert. Especially out here in the desert, brother. I'm surprised me and Sarah didn't say that at all during our podcast, which is the next podcast, which hopefully after editing looks great. Sorry, I got sidetracked. That will probably happen a lot. But anyway, so I'm thinking about this name, and obviously, it can't be my name. I try, like, incorporating my name in it somehow. Like, my mini PR firm that I have that I use to, like, get experience in PR, which is what I went to college for, is called Graceful Solutions. So I was trying to, like, find some, like, graceful podcasts. Something with the word grace in it didn't work out. So then I was, like, thinking of other things that, like, related to my life. And that's when Too Young hit me. And it's because at work, people say it to me a lot. And it's because I work with a lot of people who are older than me. And when I try to say something that relates to me feeling like I'm old, they don't really love that when I say it. And I get it. One of my coworkers has 2 sons that are my age. I get why he doesn't like me saying that around him. But it's also like, dude, like, so what? Like, I'm sure you said that when you were 24, that you felt old. Like, come on, be for real. But yeah, I just, like, it kind of hit me and it felt right. And then I, like, looked back on my life and it just kind of really resonated with me. And then I would tell people it and it would resonate with them. And so I was like, you know what? I think I have something here. And then coming up with the concept of it wasn't hard after that, because I was like, it's just going to be a podcast about my life and, being a platform for people to come to when they feel maybe lost or they want just, to listen to someone talk. I love to talk. It's one of my favorite things to do, I've learned, which is weird because I don't necessarily love being social, but with my friends, when you get to know me, I won't stop talking. My friends are like, okay, Grace, it's quiet time now. It's quiet time. So now I get to talk to you on a podcast. And if you want to pause me or switch to the next episode anytime you want, you can always come back. I'll always be here for you. But that's also kind of why I wanted to start with 3 episodes, right? Because this first one is going to be a lot about, like, what is this podcast? What are we doing here? Why should you follow me? The second one's going to be with the girl who helped me come up with the whole idea and has been my biggest supporter throughout all of it and has been encouraging me and is keeping me accountable. So I wanted to bring her and have her be the first guest in the second episode. The third episode is going to be a really interesting one because I am single and I have been on 3 dates living out here in Las Vegas. I'm still single after that, so I'll tell you how those dates went, and you'll have to listen to the episode to really understand how interesting Vegas boys are. But It's definitely an interesting one. I get a laugh out of it now. Didn't necessarily get a laugh out of it then, but we digress. And I'm still going to live my life with or without a boy. That's all that matters. I don't need a boy. Let me be clear about that. Don't need one, but that is a goal of mine to have a family and to, settle down with someone someday. But I'm not settling for anything less than what I deserve. And you shouldn't either. Boy or girl, anyone, you should be with someone you deserve. So, came up with the name, came up with the concept. What have I been doing since December? Procrastinating. Don't get me wrong, I've done a lot in the works between then that does relate to the podcast. I did a photo shoot with one of my really good friends, Megan, who someday I hope will be on the podcast. Might take some convincing. We'll get her there. I've talked to my friends with podcasts and gotten their input on the idea and like kind of some advice and asking them to be on it. I have been asking people to be on the podcast for ideas for the podcast. It's been a lot of like prep work for it. But if I'm being so for real, I could have launched this a few months ago. And I should have recorded this more than 10 days before the launch. 100%. But I kind of was overthinking everything. So that's why we're here today. But we're here. And that's all that matters. Is at the end of the day, I'm still giving myself 10 days to get this together. So that's what this whole process has been. And a lot of people who have been following me and are good friends of mine are super excited for this. So makes me excited to do this because, I'm excited for it. At the end of the day, this is something I'm excited for. So I hope you are too. So going on to the next, I've told you a little bit about how this podcast came to be. Now, what is this podcast? What can you expect? I've told you little bits and pieces, but this is like, the actual definition of the podcast. I'm going to be telling you my stories, my experience in life, funny stories, sad stories, relationship stories, career stories. I'm a bartender. I've been a bartender for 6 years, on and off being like a server and a manager occasionally in between there, but I've always been in the service industry, which means I have some fun, interesting stories that I can share with you, and hopefully you find them funny and interesting, and maybe you can learn something from the random stuff that happens to me at work and is said to me at work. I'm also, going to talk to you about my college days. Learned a lot through those days, let me tell you that. I originally went to school for pre-vet, and I switched to PR, and that's a whole story in itself, so I'll probably have a whole episode on, figuring out career-wise what I wanted to do and how I ended up still being a bartender. And kind of what I hope is going to happen in my future. That will be a whole episode to look forward to. I'm also going to bring on a lot of my friends because I feel like those are people that my friends aren't famous. They aren't household names. I don't know anyone super famous yet. But they're people who have their own stories and they have their own advice and they have stuff that they want to talk about, whether they know it or not. The goal of this podcast isn't to become famous myself. It's just to reach as many people as I can and to help as many people as I can. And hopefully, if I can help at least one person, that's all I care about. A big part of this podcast, I want to be centered around mental health. And I feel like a lot of my friends can talk about that with the stories we have with each other and the stories I have. And I kind of want to just, make sure we're all doing okay. Make sure we're checking in on each other. And, life can be hard sometimes, but we're going to get through it together. But anyway, so I'm going to bring in my friends, talk about mental health, talk about my stories, talk about random stuff. There's going to be boy talk. Duh. But it's going to be in fun ways. And we can also talk about just other fun stuff in our lives. I like to rave. We could talk about raving. I just recently went to a rave. That's why I have this lovely, it's called Wook Flu. If you are in the rave community, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I got a cold after I went to EDC last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before. And then I went to another rave the weekend after, and 2 raves in a row was apparently too much for my body, and it decided it wanted to catch a cold. So, love that for me. But I'm already feeling better than I did even 2 days ago. So, we love that for me. And just whatever else y'all want to talk about. I definitely want to have episodes answering your questions, giving you advice, And so, yeah, that kind of brings us into our next segment of answering some fun fact questions about me, because you don't know who I am unless you're like a friend. So we're going to just answer some fun little facts about me and my life and some interesting questions you might have or maybe not have. I don't know. It's the first episode, so there won't be many questions to answer just yet. But on my Instagram, there will always be a little poll that you can go to, or you can slide a little question or life advice asking in my DMs, and I will answer them possibly on the podcast if I feel like it is a fun thing to answer. I never want to promise anything that I can't do. So I don't want to say I'm going to answer everyone's questions on the podcast, because then, like, what if I blow up one day and I have like 40,000 questions? Like, that's going to be episodes and episodes and episodes and episodes of me answering questions, and that's just like not fun for anyone. Promises mean a lot to me. Fun fact. So yeah, fun facts about me. My name is Grace Boulay. I am 24 years old, living in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm originally from the DFW area. I have 2 amazing parents and a brother and an amazing dog. Back home in Texas, my brother lives in Oklahoma for right now. My dream place to live one day is New York City, and I obsess about New York City a lot because I just absolutely love it. I don't know why. It's just like I've always loved big cities, and New York has always been like my dream. When I was younger, I had a poster of this one bridge in New York that like I always dreamed about being like proposed to there. When like I found like a boyfriend I wanted to marry one day, I always dreamed being proposed at this one bridge in New York in Central Park. So yeah, hopefully I get to live there. I don't want to live there like and like raise a family. I just want to like live there for a year, you know? While I'm in my 20s still, I want to live there for a year. I think that'd be fun. I think I kind of already mentioned this a little bit. I went to school for public relations and communication management, as well as a specialty in event management, social media management, and crisis communication. So when I graduated college, I tried to get a job in PR. However, getting a job in PR when you have no experience because of COVID was the very hard thing to do. So I created what's called Graceful Solutions, and I help small influencers and businesses with any PR marketing things they might need. And it's been going really well so far. So if you have a small business or you're a micro influencer looking to expand your portfolio and need some help, hit me up on Graceful Solutions Instagram plug. I will always plug myself or my friends. Fun fact. I moved out to Vegas a year and a half ago because I got a job out here, and it has been super, super fun. I've made some amazing friends out here. I love my job. It's not something I want to do forever, but it's a lot of fun for now, and I do love the company I work for. Company I'm working for, if you're watching this, I do love you. Don't fire me, please. I need a job until this kicks off a little bit. Other random fun facts, I've played tennis and the flute since I was 6 years old, and I still play tennis now. I just play it for fun, though, just recreationally. I've always loved music. I love raving. I started raving when I was 16, and I have been doing it ever since. So it's like, 8 years now? 9 years? However math works. And I absolutely love the community. I think it's super fun, and getting to go out there and make amazing experiences with friends and new people is just a lot of fun for me. My favorite artist is Ariana Grande. And yes, I am obsessed with her. And I mean that in like, not like I'm an ever stalker. It's fucking insane, this crazy talk. But I do love her. And I like glow when I get to talk about her. And her music genuinely did save my life. So I do owe kind of my life to Ariana Grande in a way. And so that's why I'm partially obsessed with her. I have 2 tattoos for her. I have 8 tattoos total. But 2 are specifically for or about Ariana Grande. I have her moon, and then I have a quote from one of her songs on my collarbone. So yes, I am slightly obsessed with her. Love her. Would love to meet her one day. Have not, but would love to. She's probably one of the only people I would fangirl for, but I would definitely like fangirl, but like keep it cool and be like, oh my gosh, I fucking love you, but like, you know, not be crazy. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm trying to fill time. I already talked about, I've lived in Vegas for a year and a half, but people do ask me all the time how long I see myself being out here for. I don't know. We'll see. Last thing you need to know about me is I care about people a lot. My friends and my family, the people I genuinely have in my life and let into my life, I care about a lot. And this is essentially going to be kind of like my family. I'm going to love y'all fearlessly and protect y'all till I decide maybe one day this is over. But I hope that's not anytime soon. I know I've already said it multiple times, but thank you so much for listening to this episode. I know it's going to be a little bit crazy the first few episodes. I don't expect this to like blow up overnight. Don't get me wrong. Would love that. But you got to understand, this is my first time doing anything like this. I have only ever had an Instagram. I have a TikTok, and I've only ever had one video blow up, and it got taken down by TikTok because of the sound. And then that TikTok got hacked. So love that for me. So I've never really had, much experience in the public eye, and let alone experience much in front of a camera. I've definitely been getting more used to it the more I'm practicing filming episodes and the more times I try to film this first episode, which has been multiple times. But, it's something that's going to take time. And so if you're listening from day one, from the first day, from June 10th, 2024, thank you so much for supporting me and for going through this crazy journey with me. And I hope, we grow together and you like me. I'm also going to say this in every episode until she gets a name. This is my bear. I got her specifically for this podcast. She is our mascot. We love her fiercely. She needs a name, though. She doesn't have one. And I can't really call her Too Young, the bear. I guess I could, but I want a name for her. So please leave your suggestions for the bear under the bear post in my Instagram, or under my cover art. That one also works, or really under any post. And eventually she will have a name. Goal is by the end of the season. So don't know how many episodes the season's going to be. I definitely have a lot of episodes planned. I have a lot of people I want to bring on the podcast, but I want to keep this pretty intimate between us. Season 2 will be a thing for sure, even if it doesn't blow up. This is for me. I'm super excited to do this and to share my life with you. And yeah, get ready to see a lot more of me, because you will. And hopefully I will be doing everything I can to reach as many of you as I can. So thank you so much for watching this first episode. I have no idea how I'm going to close out these episodes yet, but I just want to say, don't forget you're not too young, and that you are loved, and that I love you, if anything, which means a lot. And thank you so much for watching this. This was the first episode. Woo! We did it. Bye, guys.